Hey y'all, Marquita here, and welcome back to the channel. I do apologize for the super late video, but with the heat, I have been waiting till later in the evening to run out and do my errands, and so that led to me taking a little bit longer than planned. So by the time I got back, I was eating, and then I was like, oh, I need to film my update for my garden people. So I did do that, and so now we are getting it together. I went out on the balcony, so I'll put that at the end, the balcony garden progress. But I did want to show you a few of the things that I did around the house. So for the house plants. So, I've mentioned this a few times about propagating and also just about changing up some of the plants. So this is one of my golden pothos here that you probably remember. It had about 4 or 5 different um, stems that were hanging all the way down pretty much to the floor. So what I did was I added a moss pole there. I still have quite a few of them. Um, and so I wrapped 2 of the vines there around the moss pole. Yes, that's a black bobby pin if you're wondering. I may order some plant clips later, but for now I just wanted to get it up. So I also had some tie from that came with the moss pole. So you see that green there, like a twist tie, but then it just became easier for some pieces to just use that bobby pin. And I also use the bobby pins for some of the pieces that are still in the pot to try and get the nodes to plant into the soil, and maybe they can start rooting as well. So hopefully um I have those going up, so hopefully there is some new growth up at the top already. That was there before I pinned everything up, but hopefully it will continue to grow and flourish. And these last 2 I wrapped, so that's what you see at the bottom is actually the 2 that are hanging. I wrapped them a few times to shorten them so they are a little higher up, which puts them closer to the window to get more light. And I also rooted their nodes. You can't see the black bobby pins I use for that, but I actually clipped it all the way across so it's like in the soil. So again, I'm hoping that it will start rooting and attached there to grow, because when they were hanging, there was just like along down to about where they're hanging now, like that was all empty. So it was kind of like this, or just nothing there, and then the leaves were all at the bottom. So everything that you see wrapped, you can see that there was at some point like nodes there that could have grown if they were planted in something. So I'm hoping to try and get that going again, so I don't have this super long vine with leaves just at the bottom and having all that bare space. So hopefully it will reconfigure itself over time, similar to what I did with this Brazil phyllo. It was doing the same thing. It started going down, and so I used the moss pole to kind of take it up. And as you can see, one is all the way up there, and then we have another one that's coming across. And I don't know if you've ever paid attention, but there are actually 2 vines there that are going across here. One goes up, so it ends up at the top, and then the other one's the one that comes all the way down and drapes by the door. So you can see there's lots of new growth happening down there as well. So just want to give you a little update on some of the things that I am doing around the house. The other option for these 2 that are hanging, if they don't start rooting, is to chop and prop. So I might do that. And speaking of chopping and propping, I want to walk you over to my propagation station. I'm hoping that it is close enough in the to the window, because you can see here's the window, here's the light it does hit, that is enough for it to do what it needs to do. So this is all from that same pothos I was just showing you. This is my bookcase that's here. It's sitting on a row of mostly cookbooks, but my friend actually got me this cute little propagation station. I think she got it from Amazon, but she gifted it to me for my birthday because she knows I like love plants and everything. And so it comes with 3, I think it's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, um, 5 little, um, I guess you could say bottles or jars or whatever that you can use to propagate in. I don't know why this thing will not focus, so I'm trying to get it to focus for you guys. See if I cut on a light, if that will help. All right, that seems to focus a little bit better. But yeah, so she bought me that. So all of those are clippings from that pathos that I just showed you. And this is my first time using the propagation station, so we'll see. I just put water in there, and then I put the stems in, as long as I made sure to cut where there's a node so you can see they're down in the water. So hopefully it should take 1 to 3 weeks for it to start rooting. I believe is the typical amount of time. So I'll keep an eye on it. I just did it this weekend, so it hasn't been in there long enough really for anything to happen. I do have a root hormone that's typically for soil. So once it does start, I will probably sprinkle a little root hormone in there as well and see how that goes. So we'll give it a try. Hopefully, we'll get some positive results. But if not, we tried. So this is my first time really doing a chop and prop, and we'll see how it goes. I'm using one, two, three, four of the five so far, so there's room for one more. I'm thinking of doing the Brazil phyllo, but I think I may try that one, just putting it in soil, but we'll see. But yeah, I want to show you guys that. I don't know if I can find something similar on Amazon or find that one. Um, then I might link it down below. But that's all it is a propagation station. I've seen several different types and variants on there. It's very simple to put together. The jars have holes already in them. So you just run that black kind of pole that you see going through there. And it's holes in the wood on each side. It also does have things on the back where you can mount it on the wall if you so choose. But I think this is okay for now. I don't really have wall space by the window or by the light to mount it. So I think just having it sitting right now, it's fine. So hopefully it gets enough sun. If not, I can always put up like a little table, probably right in front of the window to give it even more light if it seems to not be getting enough. But I wanted to share that with you guys. And the last house plant, well, actually, I want to show you this Camille plant is continuing to thrive. And with the temperatures being 1 billion degrees, it's loving the sun even more. So it's really just thriving and growing. You can see all the leaves and everything there. But the last thing I want to show you is my aloe plant that was down at the bottom. I mentioned it last time that I was going to repot it because it was in a self-watering pot, but that pot is not that deep, and so it was in the one like that white one that you see sitting there, and you can see it's not that deep of a pot. And since the aloe had grown so large, a lot of times if I bumped it when I was walking by, it would tip over, or when I moved it to water it, to add water in the base again, it would tip over. So what I did was put it in a little bit larger pot, as you can see the size there, and it has a self-watering spout that's actually facing the wall. You can't see it, but it has a self-watering spout, so I'll be able to put water there and water it that way. And aloes don't require tons and tons of water or like daily watering. They can actually go for a while like in a drought because they are used to that, so it'll be okay. But I'll be able to put water in the bottom and let hopefully the roots will grow out, and it'll make it a little more stable. And the other one is already in a pot similar to that. It's a little bit smaller pot, but it can do that. And I may see if I can move some of those pups into a separate um, pot as well, just because it has really blossomed. This started with one, and then it went to two, and now you see there are two more little ones. So we got like four, maybe five down in there right now. So it seems to be happy, and so we'll keep it there. The croton plant still doing this thing, as I mentioned. In the last one, you can see the leaves are still growing, so hopefully it's happy. It likes heat and humidity, so right now this is the perfect season and environment for it. All of the non-colorful leaves are like the newer leaves, so as of course as they grow, they will get their color. But for now, they're just coming in. So the shiny green leaves, that's all new growth. So all in here is like new growth. This kind of big green one is new growth. So it seems to be happy. So hopefully it will stay that way. Um, so yeah, so that's everything for the house plants, and then we'll go ahead and flip over to the balcony garden so you can kind of get an update on how things are going out there. Oh yes, before we go to the balcony garden, one last thing, my arrow garden, you guys know I was doing 2 romaine and 2 spinach. So far it looks like the spinach is going to be a dud from what I can see down in there, but we'll check it out. But you see this romaine is doing this thing, and this one has started to pop up as well. Spoiler alert, I actually put another seed down in there because the other one, the original one, I don't think was going to blossom, or something went wrong with it. But when I popped another one in there, it almost immediately within a couple of days started sprouting. So there we go. Probably in the next, I'd say probably day, or so, I'll be removing the top, because once they start kind of touching the top, then that means you can go ahead and remove it. So it's ready for just being open air like this one. So I'll probably go ahead and take that off. Maybe by tomorrow night, or yeah, by Tuesday, it'll be off. And so I just wanted to show you this. I don't think I'm going to add anything else in there right now. I'll just let these two remain, do their thing, because it's already 24 days in, and so I don't want to start necessarily something else unless it was maybe romaine over, just because I want to make sure it's getting the proper lighting. Because the one thing about the Aero Garden is that as the time goes on, it adjusts like the lighting settings and whatnot to give the amount of light that's needed for where the plant would be in that stage. So it won't get as much light as it would need in the beginning, because of course as things grow, they don't need as much light. So it changes a little bit sometimes. So I don't want to start anything else and it not get what it needs. So we'll just let this romaine play out. In my other Aero Garden, I will probably try to redo that one, maybe cinnamon basil, and I'll do that next. But for now, it's full, as you can see over there, full of romaine. So I'm going to have lots of salads this week. And since this is sitting here, this is the aglaonema plant that I had, aka the red Chinese evergreen. And it's still living and loving life and flourishing quite well. So now we'll flip over to the garden so you can see how that's growing. All right, here's the balcony garden, starting with the mini pumpkins. As you can see, they are doing pretty well. All of those plants represent where a potential pumpkin will be. And in the third container, I finally planted some peas. As you can see, they're starting to sprout. So everything in that garden there is from seed. So it's doing pretty well. The peas have been there for about a week. So good to go there. And now we have the other plants. The pepper plant is super tall now. Where you see those white flower looking things will hopefully be peppers at some point. And that's usually how most of the pepper plants I've had, that's how it starts off. So the flowers represent where a pepper will eventually form when those fall off. So hopefully so far so good with that one. I have added support since it's gotten so tall. Next to that is the chocolate mint, which as you can see is on the struggle bus. It's actually from last year, so I might toss it and just start over. Those other two, the lemon balm at the back and the mint in the front, they were doing good until I went to Canada. And I think between the kind of crazy watering and the heat, they just kind of struggled. Down below is rosemary, doing great. Behind that is a mint plant from last year, which is still doing great. As you can see, it's actually growing up in between the bars up there. So it's actually growing quite well. The rosemary is also doing really well. I'm probably going to go ahead and start harvesting some of that just to keep it growing. Another mint plant there. Some of those are from last year, and so that's why they look a little bit more sparse. I think the one that I'm filling on right there is one that I bought this year, so it's doing pretty well. It's nice and fluffy. And then also another mint back there, which I think was a rehash from last year. So we have a mix of old and new, and so some things are doing well, better than others. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.